Hello and welcome to Rantcast episode 3, and I just wanted to start off talking about Minecon because if I don't talk about it now I probably won't ever get round to it. And because I have such a bad memory I won't really go into much detail anyway. Um, I don't really have many pictures of it because being in that kind of environment with lots of people I don't know is just very stressful and it takes a lot of energy, and I don't really have time to stop and think about what would be a good photo opportunity. So um, just going from memory, first of all there was the opening ceremony, which was very impressive. They had a piece from Hat Films, as they usually do, which I've got to admit, most of the stuff that I see they do for Minecraft it all seems different, but it all has the very much the same feel, and it's getting a bit boring for me now, to be honest. Um, After the opening ceremony, I went to see a chat with Notch, where he was asked questions about Minecraft, which he no longer has really anything to do with. He's working on his own game now, the Space Simulator, which he's not really sure about. After that question answer session, I went to see the killer editing section, which gave me a few ideas for this, although I'm not really sure where I'm going to take it at the moment. And then I headed over to the Minecraft PC question and answer section, where it was Jeb and Co, and they were asked a lot of questions about the mod API, which is a completely different session the next day that they really couldn't answer there because they tried to keep each session fairly relevant. And unfortunately I didn't actually hear that much of that session because there was these really asshole kids behind me just really messing about. This in their teens, so it's literally they had really no excuse to be there if they weren't interested in it. And eventually I did turn around and say to them, if you don't want to be here, then just go away and be somewhere else. But unfortunately that was right at the end, so when I was trying to put up with them, I just missed a lot of the questions. And so the next day I went to see the mod API question and answer panel, where they was asked more questions about Minecraft, which they didn't answer because it was the mod API panel. So everyone was kind of asking the wrong questions really, but over the 3 panels I did find out a fair bit about the future of where Minecraft is going. The mod API seems to be very good. They're going to try and get almost every part of Minecraft which isn't the core part into the API, which means that mod developers can add or remove pretty much any aspect, including things like creepers or the way that water works, I think, and what they're planning to do is turn Minecraft into an engine and a mod, and every part of Minecraft which isn't the engine is going to be a mod which you can turn on or off at your leisure. They're also going to have a central repository where mod developers can upload their mods, and then there will be a space in-game to download from the repository. It will also be possible to install mods from third-party sources, as it is at the moment, but that is more than likely going to be the more specialist kind of mod, which doesn't really fit in with the repository. And so the idea is that most users won't have to mess around with dragging and dropping files or anything like that, and there will also be something where if a server uses a mod which is in the repository and the user doesn't have, it will ask them if they want to download the mod from the repository so that they can play on the server as it was intended. All of which is very good, and the next update they're planning to do is the Redstone update, which may or may not be here by the end of the year. They're planning to put fireworks in it as a kind of New Year's celebration. They are also planning to do a lot of work with Redstone, including adding capacitors and having Redstone have different power levels, so the farther away from the source it gets, the less power it has, which will allow you to only use a signal if it's a particular strength. And I can't really think of any uses for that at the moment, but I know that there's people who use Redstone a lot more than I can who will be using that a lot. And they're also planning on adding in a light detector, which will output a particular power depending on what the light level is, which is going to just open up so many possibilities for people. At the moment, you've got that through various mods like Buildcraft, and I think a lot of people would really love to see that in the actual game. They also mentioned for future updates they're going to do a lot of work on transportation and minecarts and transporting items, and they're going to have things like auto unloading, so when you pass over a particular plate it unloads the player or the storage cart into, I don't know, into a waiting cart, I guess, or waiting chest. So all of that's to look forward to. The mod API is going to take a long time, I think, because they want to get it really right. What they were saying in particular is that once they've built the API, it's going to be that they can't really go back and change it. They can only add to it, which means they've got to get it bang on first time round, which is fair enough, and hopefully a lot of the improvements they plan to do with the engine and the lighting engine will play into that, and we'll see some of that fairly soon. After all of those question and answer sessions, this is the Sunday afternoon, I started queuing for Dr. Party tickets, which took about an hour and a half waiting in line in cold November Paris weather, but it's okay because it wasn't actually any colder than Cornwall would be at that time, and I got tickets, which is excellent. Then I went to see the Captain Sparkles video presentation, which was interesting. He did a backflip for the audience, and then the audience half killed themselves trying to get autographs at the end, and they had to kind of be told kind of back off and wait your turn, and that was actually very well handled by the Minecraft team and by Lydia Winters in particular. Then it was the closing ceremony, which they had the costume contest, some great entries there, and congratulations to TNT Girl who won it. And then it was kind of everything wrapped up, and we went off and got something to eat and started making our way to Dr. Party a bit later, which was actually, it was a lot of fun. I don't really enjoy that kind of atmosphere, or I haven't until now. I'm not exactly the best person about moving my body or drawing attention to myself in the crowd, but I actually had a lot of fun there, and I did actually, I'm going to say I started dancing properly for the first time in my life, which is actually a major achievement for me, so I'm happy about that. And we bailed out of Dot Party about 2-3 AM because it was just a long weekend. But it actually went on till 6, so if anyone actually stayed there from 9 until 6, the full duration, well, congratulations to you. I consider myself to be a nocturnal person, and I doubt I could have lasted until 6 a.m. even if I tried. So, yeah, that was all fun. Overall impressions of the whole event was it was a bit disorganized, to be honest. One of the emails that was telling us about things was not received until about 5 a.m. on the morning that we was about to leave, which was the Friday, and particularly organisation around the dot party tickets. We weren't properly told where to get the tickets. We weren't told what the transport situation was or what the return transport situation was, so that could be handled better. I would like to see either details on that in the downloadable app or just a kind of handout when you got the ticket saying, be here, this is what's going to happen, and this is how you get back. But I do want to say a big thank you for Notch for the entire weekend. He did actually take a lot of money out of his own pocket to organise it, because even the sponsorship from Microsoft, Intel, Multiplay, and all of the rest wouldn't have even come close to covering it, even if you include the cost of the tickets. And the fact that Notch is actually willing to spend his own money to create this event and to create all this community is just absolutely amazing, and you wouldn't find that with most large game companies, let alone ones which are kind of barely moving away from their origins. So overall, a amazing experience. I would definitely do it again, although next year I would probably only be able to attend if it was in London, which I am hoping for, but I'll understand if they want to do it somewhere else, of course. So that's all I have really to say about Minecon, except I got a cape and I love it. The cape, it's the perfect colour to go with my current skin, so I can just kind of fly around in creative and pretend that I'm like a superhero or something. And now I'm going to talk about the Wii U for a minute. I think it's going to do very well with the Wii's current audience, but Nintendo want to make it into a console which brings back the hardcore audience, and I don't think that's going to happen. It's trying to match the specifications of the wrong generation. It's trying to match the specifications of the current generation, and even though it beats them, as soon as Sony and Microsoft release their new consoles in about a year's time, it's just going to go back to its position of being kind of the lowest spec console on the market. And at the moment, it isn't optimized because consoles at the end of their life cycle, people know how to kind of squeeze every last frame out of them, and that's just not happened with the Wii U because it's brand new on the market, and apart from that there's bound to be bugs in it, and it's not really something which people are going to look at, developers are going to look at and say, this is a good option for you right now, especially since it doesn't have the market at the moment that hardcore developers are aiming towards. And so essentially Nintendo's in the position at the moment where they have to get the developers within the next year, and more than that, they've got to get the hardcore players in the next year. And the hardcore players aren't going to come until the developers come. So they've essentially got 6 months for the developers and 6 months for the gamers. Otherwise, the hardcore gamers are just going to wait until the offerings from Microsoft and Sony come out, and they will just go and just stick with what they know and stick with what they know works. So I would absolutely love for Nintendo to come back into the hardcore market. I think that they could probably offer some very ingenious solutions But I don't think it's going to happen this time round, unfortunately. I think it's just going to stay the casual party console that the Nintendo Wii was. And that's a shame, but that's how life is, so we'll see how that plays out, and if in a year's time I am completely wrong, I am sure that anyone who actually watches these will gleefully point it out, and I will admit I'm wrong. Apart from that, I have just about ran out of time, so I am going to end the video there. Bye.